The stuff you sell the most of takes about half hour. The stuff that gets all the critical acclaim and you sell 2 pieces of takes like 4 months. You know, but you need both. I have 2 collections. I have a Brave collection, I have a Wayne Cooper collection that came after the Brave, and then I have a WC2 collection, which is t-shirts and denim and stuff. The Wayne Cooper's always the first collection I design, and that's the one that comes from where I'm feeling. When I left school, I got the biggest, best grades my school had ever had in its ever.
In England?
In England.
Right.
But at the time, fashion was it for us. But where I come from in the East End of London, and my mates were bus drivers and cab drivers, it wasn't really, didn't see it as a vocation at the time. Went to law school and realised there was no heart in law. But while I was doing it, went and worked at Jones in the King's Road, and that changed everything for me, because there I met more alike people.
Yes.
We had Galliano's clothes, we had all the first collections, Vivienne Westwood's, Body Map. So 1980 London was a really exciting time.
Yeah,
we used to go to Blitz Club with Marilyn and Frankie Goes to Hollywood, because they used to come to the store.
Yes.
So we used to hang out with them guys. When I went out with my friends when I was young, they would all be wearing their blazer and their Farrah Stay press and their casual shoes. And I'd have on a wrap skirt, brogues, a Catherine Hamlet silk shirt, all crushed up, Diamantes, long blonde hair. I looked like, there's all my friends in this, mate. I'm a straight footballing, loving geezer, but I had
in a silk shirt with long hair.
In a silk shirt and a skirt.
And high heels.
Yeah, and as long as I was pulling women, my friends would keep me in the game. So then I went and thought, before I get going, I want to do fashion. I should better go and see the world, see everything before I start this.
Yes.
So off I went, and I ran out of money when I got to Sydney. I worked for a year. I went home, decided I loved Australia by then, and this is where I wanted to live.
Why did you like Australia compared to London?
It's like Club Med, didn't it? You come from a working class council estate, and then the friends you meet have speedboats and cars and motorbikes, and it was just fresh and people really nice. They weren't as jaded as Londoners. 2 years into law school and 2 years into Jones, I didn't even think about being a stylist, hairdresser, photographer, none of that. I just wanted to make clothes. But when I got here, I decided I needed to know as much as I could. So I went to East Sydney Tech, but I only did pattern making and dressmaking, actually the physical way of making a pattern and sewing a garment.
Where do you get your inspiration from?
I look at movies most of the time and my little favourite people. Like my last collection was A City of Women. It was about the peasants, the women of the Ardèche, and Kubrick, but not particularly any movie, more his sensibility on the set construction. I used a Cindy Symphony Orchestra, and we did like a Michael Nyman, Peter Greenaway sort of haunting soundtrack that we created. They sat there glued. They were like in awe. I like to experiment with different looks that I maybe not would usually do. Like, we were never as romantic as we are now. Like, I used to be a lot more of a hard-edged Helmut Newton sexy, but now I've got a lot more romantic, but in a much darker way than pretty. I'm not into pretty girly. I like more of a darker aesthetic.
What are girls looking for today?
They're much more independent, stronger people, and you still have though your girls who are still like they're tight and sexy tarty, and you still have your more intellectually thinking women. This country doesn't have as much of the women you would find for those more avant-garde clothes that you'll find in Paris. So you've got to always remember the market you're in. You can have that sexy aesthetic with this more edginess and combine it in a way that the overall silhouette is still sexy, but work within that. In Sydney, in Australia, they do use their clothes more so as a sexual tool. They have got more of that Brazilian influence in the way they are. Yeah, their bodies are the main, they use their bodies. And clothes, we don't design like a Japanese person would design clothes, as in the body isn't part of the body is always there as your starting point, and it's always about what you reveal and what you don't reveal. Like our last collection was called The Temptress, and it was more about what's hidden and lies beneath. It wasn't all overtly sexual. You'd have this prim piece and a piece that, wasn't so. But there it was revealing. There were slight little touches of revealing sexiness, but it wasn't all tits and arse, which we're trying to get away from. Because a lot of Australia, particularly Sydney, is very overtly sexual in a Brazilian Rio sort of a way.
You've got the gay Mardi Gras.
You've got it all. There's a lot of skin going on, and designing just for that overt sexiness is kind of boring. What the sewers can actually do, and what their machines can do here, and what you've got behind you is like 10% of what the French have got. So you've got to work within the constraints you have, which makes things a bit harder, but it's kind of interesting too. I don't mind that. And I've found myself a much more melancholy, serious sort of person than I used to be. I question a lot more now. I look more seriously at everything I do, and everything's got to have more meaning to me now. Maybe because I've got older, and I need the meaning in things. I need them to count. That's why I love doing a show, because I chose fashion, but I love architecture, I love film, I love music, I love all these things. That's why I use different genres of music, because I want to experiment with things that try to give people a glimpse of what was in your head when you made this collection. You look at pictures of the 70s, you'll pinpoint, it's the 70s, it's the 70s, it's the 60s, it's the 60s, because everyone was kind of wearing the same thing, and they were wearing the same thing for like 4 years straight.
Yes.
Now, in any given year, everyone's wearing everything. I really respect Akira. He's got this balance to his clothes and this weight of them that is perfect. He's on his own little trip, that boy. The women around Akira and the women around me are two totally different crowds of women. His women are much more avant-garde, arty, orange eyebrows, crazy severe hair, 5 layers of skirts, right? Women around me do not dress like that and would never dress like if I made clothes like that. So you kind of end up subconsciously making clothes for the women around you and see them happy in them. Like I've been banned from the magazines for life. I was 3 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, because I was disgusted with Claudia Schiffer on the catwalk, and David Copperfield was out the back, and she wore her own shoes and swore to me she had good taste, and boy, that girl has no taste, and screwed up my show. I went out the back screaming at them. It was all on camera. The organiser comes after me. I said, go away. And then I whacked him, and on camera, and then I got banned from magazines for life. I ripped up an Elle magazine, chucked it on the catwalk, and got a few bunches of flowers to the editors, and we was back in again.